Hello, hello, hello. It is Thursday, 12:30, so we are here together. And I am Dr. Stephanie Fine, Chief Physician at Maintenance University, and I'm so happy to be here with you. We've been doing this over a year. It's pretty exciting. And what we do is we talk a little more in depth about the topic of the ounce of prevention, which you can get in your inbox every Thursday morning. Just go to stephaniefinemd.com and you can find it right there. You can sign up. So, last week, you may remember, I was in Vegas in a hotel room and because I was at a conference, ObesityWeek conference, and I got to learn a bunch of stuff. So today and next week, I'm going to talk about my favorite tidbits for you. You know, sometimes the things aren't super practical. They have to do with mice and interesting little tidbits about some hormones and things, and what that does is give you a peek into what we may be learning. But in terms of like things that we can do right now, that's what I got going, because those are my favorite things. I like dealing with the people. And so my very favorite thing was learning about intermittent fasting. It was neat. And I've been dabbling with it myself and have seen pretty good results. And so I'm happy to talk about it with you. It's just one technique in the many different techniques. And I went into a bunch in the ounce of prevention. But what I want to talk here about is a little more specifics. And that means the eating window ends up being important. That's the main thing that was presented there, that I already felt I knew, but got some more backing about that. And that has to do with circadian rhythms. And they've actually done human studies to show this. So the point about intermittent fasting, and when I talk about intermittent fasting, I am talking about time restricted. I'm not talking about don't eat for 2 days or every other day, nothing like that. I mean, there are studies around those things, but people can't sustain them. They drop off. So it's not useful in terms of what we're talking about here, which is weight loss and maintenance. So I'm only talking about time-restricted intermittent fasting. And what I'm talking about is an 8 to 10 hour window where you eat. You eat in that 8 to 10 hours, and then you don't eat for 14 to 16 hours. And what that does for your body is actually incredible. Now, I will say, without calorie restriction, you don't lose weight. So it's not that you can eat a ton in that 8 hours and then magically in the next, 16, it goes away. It doesn't work that way. It has to be calorie restricted, meaning you have to be having fewer calories than you were before, or certainly than your body burns, right? So in terms of weight loss, just pure weight loss, it's the same weight loss if you just do calorie restriction all the time. So, you just eat less food, or if you eat less food with the intermittent fasting. So that's an important piece. But the studies aren't in for long periods of time. And the wonderful thing about intermittent fasting is that it decreases the insulin levels. I go into that more in the blog, but that's the key issue. And I cannot imagine that over years and years and years of having a well-balanced insulin system, that doesn't give you some benefit. And in fact, it does. We already know that it does. So the newest piece is this piece about when to do the fasting. A lot of people, when they decide to do intermittent fasting, they skip breakfast and they just start later. That's one way to do it, but you do not get the benefit out of it that way, because melatonin is excreted in the evening, and once that starts to excrete and you're eating in that time window, thermogenesis, which is the amount of calories your body uses to digest the food, so it's part of your metabolism, it's decreased by half when you're eating when the melatonin has already been excreted. So if you're eating in the evening, your metabolism literally is less, okay, than it is if you're doing it in the day. And we can't know exactly what our biological night is in terms of when we are excreting melatonin. Well, I mean, we can. We'd have to go do blood tests all the time. But we generally have an idea that it's when it's dark. Certainly if there are night owls, it might be a little, so you can play with that a little bit. But They've done studies with late time restricted eating. So they've looked at people in a 4-hour window, which is a very small eating window. It was from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. They were not eating 20 hours, and they did not have the benefit of the decreased insulin and the thermogenesis piece, the metabolism improvement. They were not eating 20 hours a day, and they did not have that improvement. It's fascinating. So if you're going to do intermittent fasting to get the biggest bang for your buck, it's not skipping breakfast. It's eating breakfast all the way till 3 or 4. You certainly can do 5. We're not scientists here, and we want what's best for our body. So whatever works in your life, because this is something I'd want you to incorporate if you're going to do it forever. But here's the piece I did not put in the blog that I wanted to tell you. Not only did the insulin levels and metabolism highly benefit from eating from 7 to 3, but there was no nighttime hunger. Your hunger levels go down, and that's from the hormones. So it's hard to not get so excited and magical thinking about it, because this other one that I told you about, the 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., they were hungrier. Oh my God, those poor people. They ate and they were hungrier. But the people who ate from 7 to 3, not hungry at night, not hungry. If it sounds like something interesting to you, you may want to do it. So that idea of like not eating all day, just eating one big meal at night, it's not the best. They also did studies with in Spain versus America, where the big meal is in the middle of the day. They have much better profiles in terms of insulin and glucose from that. So adopting sort of a more European thing, where you, like Spain, where you eat your big meal in the middle and just eat a little for breakfast and for dinner, that will make a big difference too. And so the biggest difference, I could go on and on about this forever, but one thing I do want to tell you is one of the benefits is this metabolic switch. So it looks like anytime after 12 hours, and it's going to be different for anyone, I don't know that will know this, you go from using glucose and the glycogen that's stored in your liver. When you've used that up, you then start utilizing the free fatty acids, which is from fat. And of course, that's what we want, right? We want to be utilizing the fat, and that's actually seen. So in these studies with people, they lose the same weight, but more fat. So they protect their muscle. And I think there is body composition differences, and the studies are showing that. They don't go on long enough to show it, but that more fat is gone from people who are doing this morning intermittent fasting. And so that's what you want. And I've heard Brooke Castillo talk about dining in, which I think is so funny. Her point is when you're in those hours that you're not eating, you're dining in, you're actually eating your own fat as the fuel. So that's what we're looking for when we're trying to lose weight, right? And so that's why intermittent fasting can really be something that is useful and helpful. And just a little edge, especially I think in the last 10 pounds, can really make a difference where it's been hard and then you change something up. It's pretty neat. Okay, I think, the last thing I wanted to say, and I did mention this in the blog, but I wanted to bring it up here. So let's say you do start doing the morning, and maybe it's 8, to 4 or 9 to, I don't know, you're playing with the numbers and you're figuring it out. But that doesn't lend itself to going out to dinner or being social. 5 out of 7 days works. So 5 out of 7 days doing it from, in the morning and doing the fasting window gives you the same benefit as if you did it 7 days a week. Now, I'm not talking about the thing where people fast one day and they eat anything they want the next day. I'm just talking about not either eating in the window. So we're still not eating 1 billion calories. You're still, eating either the same amount of calories that your body burns, which would mean you wouldn't lose weight, or if you want to lose weight, a little less. Okay, but in terms of the intermittent fasting and the hours that you're doing it, 5 days out of 7, if you're doing it, you are affecting in a positive way your insulin levels, I think that's very nice, a little cushion. I think that works out great. So that is intermittent fasting, the newest ideas about it. And I think it works nicely. I think it's a great addition to how I was eating, and I'm happy to talk to people about it and give it a try. Remember, it's not these crazy things. This is something that we're going to be doing for the rest of our life, which is all the things we start implementing for maintenance. And it may just fit in your life that you eat in the morning you have your big meal either in the middle of the day or early afternoon, and then you're done eating. And just watch what happens. So good to be with you. I will see you next week with some more tidbits from Obesity Week. Bye.